we've just hopped on for another. It's a new modern classic, Ask a Vegan Anything Instagram Live. So you should be able to see a little comment icon with the question mark. Please drop us any questions that you have for a vegan, from vegan to vegan, from non-vegan to vegan. Just drop a question in. Look, we've got one. Let's see. Cool. Do I need to go to the doctor? I'm vegetarian like 3 years. I'm not really sure what context you mean. If you're unwell, you should go to the doctor. In general, I don't see why you would need a doctor any more than someone who wasn't vegetarian. No. What do you think, Elle?
Just be going to the doctor anyway. You should just be going to the doctor to check up and make sure you're okay. But it's not by proxy of being vegetarian, vegan, non-vegan, or anything like that. Just go to the doctor anyway.
Yeah. For sure. Cool. Oh, I can't see all of. I'll have to keep this one up to read it. It's kind of longer one. Let me see. Sorry. Cool. Vegan activist MCT says, hello, I went vegan around 8 months ago and it was the best choice I ever made. I was wondering what your opinion is of Just Egg. I heard that they test on animals and that's something I do not want to support. What do you know about that?
I don't know anything about Just Egg because that's like more of an American company, right?
I'm not sure. Is that the stuff that comes? Oh, we've got something like called Cracked or something.
We've got Cracked, which is like Just Egg, or they used to be. Yeah. Oh no, Just Egg has been in the UK. It's just not really a thing here so much. But yeah, by like default, typically, if like something's testing on animals, it's not a vegan company. It might be plant-based. But yeah, it wouldn't be vegan.
Yeah, that's a solid response. I second that. So it's all about, obviously, it's good to do your due diligence. Obviously, it's about your intentions and what you can only act on what you know, right? So I would say if you know for a fact that a company does partake in that I wouldn't support it. It's not vegan. So yeah, that's a solid distinction Elle made. The difference would be plant-based and not vegan.
I can see the comments, by the way, and I think I can pull them up. Do you want me to try?
Hell yeah, go for it.
Okay. Oh no, I can't pull them up.
Okay, that's fine. I can just control that. Honestly, no worries at all.
You be in control. Yeah.
I can just control freak it up right now. It's totally fine. It sucks that I can't see you, Elle.
Oh, I know.
Missing your pretty little face. What do you think about honey? Yeah, it's not vegan. That is a direct exploitation of bees. It's not vegan. Out with that, I've read. I'm not an expert. I don't really care to know too much more, but I've read that it's bad for bees in general, you know. Something to do with that honeybees will compete with like local wild bee populations. Breeding weakens the gene pools, all this bad stuff, man. Bees are to be protected. We rely on them a lot. Honey people, whatever you call them, might say that that it's good for the bees, but I've heard the opposite. I'm just not an expert, but yeah, it's definitely not vegan. What do you think, Elle?
Yeah, that's their food. They spend all their summer and the spring like making this food for themselves, and then we give them like I think it's like a sugar replacer. I've heard that it could potentially be something that leads to colony collapse because then they're not very like immunoprotected like they would be from their own honey. Right. But I don't know how much evidence there is for that. But yeah, honey isn't a vegan product, so it's coming from an animal. Yeah.
And like it might be against like popular opinion, but like they are like intelligent sentient beings. They're actually really, really, really fascinating. someone that works with us with vegan FTA is called Jordi Casamichiana, and he knows like everything about bees, and he writes about them in his book. So I would recommend Ethical Vegan, and you'll learn like these unbelievable, like fascinating things about bees. So yeah, they're awesome. Is it hard to have a relationship with a non-vegan? I am vegan. What do you think about that question now?
Yeah, it's going to be hard. Like, it's something that is a moral atrocity and you view it as such, and then you're going to be in a relationship with somebody. It's going to be something that probably causes, you know, depending on how important it is to you, especially, it's probably going to cause a bit of like upset and be something that's difficult in a relationship. And it's up to you whether or not you want to deal with that difficulty. You want to deal with the potential awkwardness, like arguments that can come up because of it, or if you just don't want to deal with that. You don't have an obligation to be with anybody. You know, it's up to you whether or not you're with somebody. And it probably will be hard if it's something you care about and it's not something that they're doing. So that's entirely up to you if you want to take that and have that part of your life. That's what I would say.
Yeah, could like extend it out to like other relationships that aren't like your immediate, like your partner is what I'm assuming you mean by relationship, but like I feel like it's the same with like old friends as well. And if like you start like it's something I battled with my whole entire vegan journey all the way up until today. I don't have like a solid understanding of how I feel about it yet, and I've been vegan years. I still struggle with it. What I struggle with personally is that I hate the idea of perpetuating that I think it's okay when I really, really don't. Not only do I not think it's okay, it's like a total, complete and utter obligation to not be partaking in it. And I really struggle with that exact question. And there's no right answer. There's only just like how you feel. Right. I would say, yeah, you don't have an obligation to continue relationships with non-vegans in your life, especially if you feel like there's this conflict because you've explained it, they haven't adopted it, you feel differently about them because of that. This is all legit. And also on the flip side, like you're still vegan if you want to be friends with non-vegans.
Oh yeah, and I think there's an argument to be made that if you are somebody who is friends with people who have disagreements with you or something that they partake in, you're not necessarily like signing off on it being a good thing or perpetuating it, because you can be the person that's giving like I do it, like when someone's talking about like eating dead animals, I accidentally give like a really dirty look. Like I don't even really mean it, I just cannot hide. So I in doing that am like not actually perpetuating it. I'm being a person who's accidentally just shaming people in a way, because I'm someone there who they're talking about something, like doing something, and then I look displeased. So yeah, it's really like up to you where you want to go with it. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer, but there could be arguments for why it would be not a good idea to have those people in your community, or there are arguments, which I side more on, for why it would actually be good for you to be a person who is in their life and they care about deeply and is doing something that is like considered fringe, which shouldn't be fringe, but there you go.
Yeah, it's like you just have to follow what you actually feel. Like just on the basis that like you just don't want to be like fake about something, you don't want to be forcing yourself to do something.
Yeah.
So it's like, in my experience, like it can get harder over time with people as they like if they develop a way deeper understanding of it because of you and still don't change, that can be really hard. And that's my experience. But I haven't like I basically just continue the friendships that I feel good about, and I don't continue the friendships that I don't feel good about.
Yeah.
And so I have so I haven't managed to maintain all of my non-vegan friendships. I really haven't, and I would say that there is an element of that that's applied to it. But I've only followed ever what I just genuinely feel inside about someone.
Yeah.
I'm vegetarian. How to quit dairy. you can go, Elle. What do you think?
Okay. I think if you're vegetarian, there may be like an ethical component to why you went vegetarian in the first place. So maybe it's like you don't like the idea of animals being stabbed. Whether they're going to be stabbed like for the same reasons you go vegetarian are the same reasons you go vegan. If you are concerned about animals being stabbed, if you're concerned about them being exploited, they are exploited in these industries heavily, and they are killed when they are of no longer of use to humans. So, you know, if it is the ethical component that led you to stop eating animals, then it should follow that you also quit that. And I would say just quit now. Like I personally, like, I just went, it's the, what's the vegan version of cold turkey. I just stopped there and then, and gave it up because it's not food. Like in my head I was just like, that's not food, that is the product of like exploitation and killing. It needs to go right now. I can't consume it anymore. It can't go in my body. And you want to have that mindset. But it really does depend on what drove you to go vegetarian. And then you've probably got the answer there, because whatever it was, it will follow that it would lead you to be vegan.
Yeah. From a like practical standpoint, use the really good substitutes that exist. Like just use them. They're really, really good. From like a moral and ethical standpoint, like if you don't understand what the pressing reason as to why you should go vegan, like just use vegan pages on social media to like educate you on like why you should give up dairy products, and like understand and get a further understanding, because yeah, like if you don't have the understanding as to why you should give it up, it would be good to get that, because then you'll probably struggle to go back on that once you know how bad it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just real quick, can we make a readily available vegan cauliflower cheese? Oh, right, I see what you mean. Just one you can buy from the shop. Maybe there as well. Don't know.
There'll be more. As I've been vegan for 10 years, and when I first went vegan, there was nothing, and now like every year there's new stuff coming out. So it'll be, before you know it, your dreams will come true.
Yeah. If there's something that's like doesn't exist yet, do you know what I think needs to happen? And I know that there'll be so many people that'll be like, mate, it's so easy, but there needs to be commercialized seitan, please.
Mm-hmm.
Just commercialize seitan. What are you doing? What's the holdup?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Why is it called vegan? Don't know.
I don't know the etymology. I don't know the etymology of the vegan anymore. I'm sure I've looked it up at some point, but I can't remember.
Sorry, none of us know, but Google it maybe. Didn't know the answer to that one at all. Okay. People say plants also have feelings. What to say to them? I think we both love this one. There's a ton of things to say to them. One thing, we have to eat something, right? So let's all not pretend that we can't tell the difference between a carrot and a pig. So we have to eat something. We cannot possibly claim that it's morally neutral to eat a carrot or a pig. And if we don't have to eat the pig, for example, then should we not eat the carrot and the things that are just like the carrot, i.e. all plants? And that if you're worried about plants, the best way to reduce plant suffering is to eat them directly in a weird way, but just the laws of thermodynamics and just fundamental laws of nature, man. Like, in order for us to like eat an animal, we have to feed them an absolute ton of plants over the course of the whole time that they're alive, and then kill them and eat them. So you eat all the plants they ate, and all the water and everything that went into that. So the best way to reduce that is to eat plants. What do you think?
What we're trying to say is they lose on so many fronts when they say this. There's just absolute destruction. It's just terrible. No, my favorite thing to do is to talk about like a burning building. If there's a burning building, there's a dog inside, and there's a pot plant, are they really going to go, oh my god, I don't know who to save? It could, like, is it the pot plant? Like, do I save the pot? You're not going to do it. Like, we understand that plants, like, they don't have feelings, and scientific consensus is that they don't. So even in practice, it's honestly like the most ridiculous thing, and I think people don't actually believe it when. I don't think they believe it. So I think they're being dishonest. Maybe I'm just like thinking they're being dishonest, like for my own sanity. But I don't think people believe it. And there's just so much that you can say. Just have a response ready to go so you don't waste too much time. And yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, like the main ones to remember is like, well, you could just outright say no, they don't, no, or whatever. And I think you'd be justified. And then it's like, the way to eat less plants is to just eat plants, and just compare them to animals. So yeah, it's like should be unanimous across the board, man. Are eggs vegan? No. No, they're not vegan.
Would you care to explain why vegan?
What was that?
To explain why vegan, why they're not vegan, why they're not allowed in the club?
Yeah, so there's a million reasons. The first one being that the egg comes from an animal, so you're just viewing an animal as a resource for the egg, which isn't vegan in itself. But through having that perception of the egg, it's what we then do to the animal to get the eggs. And so it starts with the breeding process. You have to selectively breed. In order to get a decent amount of eggs, you have to selectively breed an egg layer of sorts so that they'll lay as many eggs as they possibly can. And an egg is similar to that of a human period, so they would typically lay 10 to 15 a year, but you're selectively breeding them to produce more. It's uncomfortable for them, strips their body of tons of important nutrients that they need, yada yada. Also, still on the breeding process thing, when you breed animals, there's a chance they'll be male, there's a chance they'll be female. This breed, they're not the same breed as the ones we selectively bred to grow large amounts of flesh super quickly. They're a different breed, they're the egg ones. So the males are just useless, so they're all killed because we kill about 6 to 7 billion of them a year, so it's either we keep them all alive or we kill them. Have I said enough yet?
Yeah,
it doesn't even end there. We've only just started, but that's already why they're not vegan, and there's a whole bunch more.
Absolutely. Smash it out of the park.
You don't want to add anything else?
No, I mean you've perfectly summed it up. No.
Yeah, we shouldn't even need to add anything.
No, that's bad enough, really.
Daryl's asking why we're so sexy, but it's obviously because we're vegan.
Yeah.
I always feel really bad for these ones. Yeah. I want to become a vegetarian. Hopefully, that means a path towards veganism. We would love to see that. But your parents won't let you. Do you have a response, Elle?
Yeah, I think that one's really difficult because you don't know the situation that the kid is in. Won't let me could mean loads of different things. It could be a threat to safety, if it could be a threat to actually living in the house still, if not. I think as a kid, there are a lot of things that you are doing, like you're doing what your parents tell you to do, and you are under their rule of thumb really until you leave. But I mean, if it's safe to do so, like have the conversation, you know. This is assuming, you know, you're kind of assuming yourself that they wouldn't really let you, but as long as you've had a conversation with them first about like that this is important to you, you know, why you want to make that change, you know, just explain to them so they have some understanding what's going on, because a lot of the time it's just ignorance. Like they hear that and they're worried about you in many cases, so they don't want you doing something that they think is harmful, so they'll just try and stop you. I think there's many instances of that. So if you kind of explain and educate them, and you show them some things that you've seen, they may well be on board themselves. Like there's many instances of that happening. But if it's not safe to do so, then you can't be held accountable like you can when you're an adult.
And a little word of encouragement. I actually met someone at Vegan Camp Out that told me that they went vegan because of their 11-year-old. So what Elle says is not like it is a thing that actually does happen, and I've seen that. I just also want to say maybe some more words of encouragement. Like I think it's really, really nice that you want to like identify as someone that wants to care. Like that's basically the foundation, and so therefore when it gets to that point where, because I believe you that maybe they just aren't letting you, and I don't want to like run the risk of saying something that inconsistent with my values or whatever, but I just think when you're a young person and under the crux of like your parents, it's tough, man. I wouldn't be too hard on yourself, basically, is all I'm trying to say. And it's really nice that you're identifying as somebody who wants to like care. And one day you'll be able to follow your values without the restriction. One day you will. That's a silly question. To just gonna ignore it.
Without egg, of all things, where do you get your protein?
It's not even that high source. No. It's not even a high source protein. Okay. How do you manage the sadness/emotions that come up when family and friends still eat meat, bioleather, etc.? I talked about that like a wee bit earlier on, and basically my answer, as if to not repeat myself for too long, my answer was that I'm not fully capable of dealing with those emotions yet, mate, unfortunately. I'm trying, just like you, to deal with them, and sometimes I struggle to deal with them. I'm not gonna lie. I don't have an amazing answer, but yeah, sorry. Hopefully Elle can say something.
Yeah, I think it's about like it's more of a mental thing of realizing you can't, like, as much as people like to say vegans force like others to do things, like no, you know, we can't force people to do anything, and that is the crux. We cannot control other people, and when you let go of the fact that you cannot control anything, I think you can better mentally deal with the fact that things like are happening that you don't want to happen, that you think about that happen, and that is a personal journey that you have to go through yourself. I think too often we have like very high expectations of people. We expect them to just kind of like take the information that we've taken and do the same thing we've done with it. And that will, though, you know, that would be lovely, because the world would then be like a vegan world, for example, if people did what we did. That will set you up for disappointment, and that will set you up for mental anguish, and you need your mental stability for many things. But if you want to bring it back to veganism, if you have good mental stability, then you can be a better advocate. So yeah, I would say it's doing the work within yourself to learn how to reckon with that you cannot control people, and they will do what they do. Is probably the best way. I don't know if I was supposed to give such a therapizing answer.
It's really good. I was just thinking though, I was having a conversation with my friend today, and just like kind of about this. So like, because I've made like some recent decisions that where I've like actually been knocking off. Some is somewhat related. I've been knocking off like some things that I do on a like personal level when it comes to like advocating for veganism, and I've like, right, knocked this off, and channeled my efforts into vegan FTA. And the reason why that is because this gives me more positive, like this makes me feel more positive. And so basically the gist of what I'm trying to say is that try to, if something feels impossible, which it might with some people, try to focus on something that feels more positive, because that's what I've done, and I feel better for having done that. What is the psychology behind meat eaters being so triggered? For example, posting steak emojis in this chat. Yeah, I've seen that. Just, I would guess, I can only guess because I'm not a psychologist, the inability to admit that it's wrong, and it sort of manifests in like a bit of a lashing out type thing. Do you think, Elle?
It's something similar to the term cognitive dissonance. But yeah, basically, you know, people get defensive when they're doing something that they cannot justify, or they feel somewhat of a discomfort with. Instead of, and this is with many things, that like if someone cannot justify what they're doing and they do feel that discomfort, they will just turn it around on the other person. And because it's easier to do than it is to do the inner work of trying to rationalize and understand what's going on. We are fallible beings who are very emotional, and we are constantly either trying to make sense of our emotions or we're trying to push them away, which is easier to do. And this is a really easy way to push away your emotions, is to put a little cheeky steak emoji in the comment section and think, I don't know what people think it's doing. Like, I see it and I'm like, thank you for helping the algorithm. That's my only thought. And I can tell that there's some emotion behind that, because never, when I was non-vegan, like never did I get so like, I didn't feel the need to do that, but I did when I got uncomfortable think, oh, vegans are idiots, vegans are going to die, vegans are all this. I did think those things, but you've got to be at a really big level to be like, I'm gonna write a steak emoji, I'm really gonna stick it to them, I'm gonna tell them I love me. That is some high emotion. So
yeah,
that's pretty classic.
It's like, yeah, you're caring a lot about this issue.
Yeah.
And so, some of you guys are die hard. Like I've been working. Yeah, I've been working with Vegan FTA for a year, and I still see some of this same troll usernames.
Really?
Dal says, "What time we playing COD? Playing COD, sin babes, love you."
Playing COD's not vegan; it's an animal.
Yeah. I got my parents to watch Dominion, and they went vegan 6 months later. You're an absolute legend.
Wow.
V_vegan daily. What a guy. Pretty sure your name's Ollie. I hope that's true. You're a legend, sir. I'm currently trying to transition from vegetarian to vegan. Do you guys have any suggestions on how to give up cheese? Ellie Romney had a similar question, and I just think the only thing I can really say is just like use the substitutes and look at why cheese is morally bad.
Yeah.
And get
look at the footage. Yeah.
Yeah, get that sense of urgency about why it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
It is addictive for any vegetarian struggling. Yeah, that's a fair point. I've heard that that's scientifically true. For any vegetarian struggling, don't eat dairy for 2 weeks and you won't even want it anymore. Plus, vegan cheese tastes all right after. Sometimes it tastes really good.
I
Sometimes it
didn't
is.
like some of it's naff to this day,
Yeah,
but like
yeah,
I have vegan cheese and I'm just like, this is banging. Like I really,
yeah.
maybe I'm just a bin, which I could believe, but
Like the little foot control, and it's
yeah,
just
like
like,
a compost bin, you know.
wow, wow, wow.
Put it
Anything.
in.
Love it. Love it, Elle. I'm like trying to like, and by the way, guys, I'm like trying to interact naturally with Elle, but I can't see Elle. You guys can.
Can't see my face.
So it's like I can't tell if I'm like interjecting or not.
Never
Sometimes.
interjecting, darling.
Good stuff. Can you recommend a vegan wine? That's some straight edge. What about you?
Yeah, I don't drink. Well, I would, but I don't. I'm not straight edge. I'm not like cool or anything. But
Yeah.
what you want to do is you want to go on this app called Barnivore, and Barnivore will tell you whether or not an alcoholic beverage is vegan or not. It's called Barnivore. That is a really good app that saved me in the past. But a lot of the time now, wines will tell you whether or not they're vegan on the back because there's a demand for knowing. So I can't recommend a brand. Wine tastes like sad grapes. I'd say don't drink it. But there's a lot of vegan ones that don't contain like carmine or whatever.
Yeah, I'd just say like yeah, just approach it like anything else. Like don't consume it if you don't know that it's vegan. But yeah, oh yeah, I've already got another one up, but I don't understand it, so I'm hoping that you do. But I'd like to do the Liberation Pledge. What should I do when my co-workers eat lunch together?
Do you know what the Liberation Pledge is?
Unfortunately not.
Essentially, the Liberation Pledge is where you pledge to, I might be like messing it up a bit, but it's where you pledge to not eat dinner or lunch or any food like around people who are eating animals, to treat it the way you would if they were like serving up a dog stew or something. Like,
I understand.
So that they're asking, you know, what to do if they're just eating, and like that's really awkward. That's a really awkward situation. But if you're wanting to take this pledge, then you've got to stick to your guns and then say, I'm sorry, I can't eat with you because this doesn't align with my values, and it will be probably quite awkward. But you could bring up like, I wouldn't sit here if you were eating a dog. I wouldn't sit here and eat if you were eating a giraffe. I wouldn't sit and eat here if you were eating a dolphin. So why would I sit here and eat with you while you're eating a chicken's body? That would probably be a good way to tell them that that's not what you want to do.
Earlier on when we were talking about like follow, like I wouldn't say there's a right and wrong scenario in this either. You might feel that way like because you want to do the liberation thing, and that's great. Like I would just say follow like what your actual feelings are. But I would just like to say that in either scenario, there's probably something effective to do. What Elle just said sounds really, really cool because you're like, it means you put yourself on the spot, though. It's not much of a like escape from the situation type thing, because in order to achieve that effective thing, you need to actually say all the awkward things, which could be inflammatory. And then on the flip side, if you wanted to like not do that and actually sit with them, then there's something effective in there because like you're sitting with them and showing that like it doesn't affect you, and like you actually eat like really awesome food. If you do eat like stuff that like I don't know, maybe like a meat eater would be into it, like there could be something effective in that. So I would just say like if whatever choice you want to make, like it would be cool if there was something effective for the animals in there, like. But yeah, I'm unfamiliar with it, but I understand. Like, just do what you feels right. People say that's what animals are for. I can't support that. What should I tell them? Animals are not. We can't decide what animals are for and what they're not for. Like, they only, we can only believe that they serve a purpose, and we force that purpose on them. The purpose isn't inherent. Like we believe that they we believe that they're here for that. That doesn't mean that they are here for that. I would say that to someone. Like, well, you decided that though. Like, I could decide that a chicken isn't here for food, and then problem solved. Do you think it?
Hmm. Yeah, when people say that's what they're here for, a lot of the time there can be like a religious reason that they're saying that.
Oh,
To
yeah.
which I would say there's nowhere in religious scripture that says you have to eat animals. Like, so to say that's what they're for, when nowhere says you have to consume them, that doesn't make sense. And yeah, I would go with what Kenny's saying. Like, we can't say what they're actually here for, but we could argue all day. But you want to avoid going down that kind of metaphysical route of like purpose and meaning and anything like that. We just want to look and see why they're saying that.
Yeah.
And then if they explain it's because of religious reasons, you can say, okay, well, nowhere does it say you have to do this. And if it's just some kind of like thing that they're just saying, just ask them what would happen if you didn't eat them. Like, even if they're meant for that. Like, say I have a human, and then I say, oh yeah, they're meant to be my dinner. Like,
Yeah.
I've assigned a purpose for them. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, that purpose isn't justified. I can't justify that purpose. So
Yeah.
you could say all day that's what they're meant for, but that doesn't mean it's a justification at all.
It just doesn't mean
No.
anything. It just doesn't mean it because you can change what you say they're meant for, but it doesn't. Like, it only stems from like your perspective, like what you're deciding and what you're believing. Like the closest thing you could like figure out, and don't worry, I'm gonna bring it back to morality. Not gonna do an appeal to nature fallacy. The closest thing that you could like look at is like oh well, like can you interpret some sort of like purpose from like looking at nature? And even if you could, and you could technically say, oh well, their purpose is sort of like to be prey for this other animal. Like that doesn't then like morally justify you making them. And there's a difference between prey and like farmed animals for a start. But that doesn't like morally justify you going like, oh, this animal's sort of like lower down on the food chain. That means that I can just totally obliterate them and exploit them with like no limit. And I just couldn't even see that even if you could find an objective purpose, is what I'm trying to say. That even if you could, which you can, that would lead you to like a conclusion of how you can treat someone when you don't have to treat them that way. So it wouldn't even like the purpose thing wouldn't even matter, even if you could figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Morally speaking, just wouldn't matter. I don't know if that made sense. I hope it did. Best vegan place in the UK, not
So,
London.
like the best city.
Are you asking like, is the best vegan place in the UK not London? Don't know, mate. Like Danish. I don't like. I haven't been to enough cities in England to like say, oh, this one's the best. But it also could be like subjective for some people. Elle's gonna know better.
Like Manchester's amazing, Glasgow's amazing for vegan food, Edinburgh, Birmingham's really good. Like any city you go to in the UK, like even a town you go to in the UK, it's going to be vegan friendly. So if anyone like says, "Oh, I'm from the UK, I can't go vegan," it's like absolutely ridiculous. But like every city,
Yeah.
you know, Brighton, York, you know, Norwich, like have these vegan places, like vegan chicken places, vegan like cafes. I don't know. There was recently like a voting, and I think Norwich was one of the top ones, which
Yeah.
I could
Yeah. I've
I
seen
could
an
have
FBA.
I could have believed a couple of years ago, but I wouldn't say now. But I mean, go off, you know, if that's the truth. But yeah, like UK is just really vegan friendly.
Yeah.
And there's just like so many amazing places.
Yeah, it's like really vegan friendly even when it's not. And that's speaking from experience because I don't come from a vegan friendly place. And It's really, really easy for me to be vegan. All you need to be vegan is a Tesco's.
Is a Tesco. Yeah.
Legit.
Legit. They'll have like loads. Even the ones that are rubbish will have loads.
Oh yeah. This is a legit one. It's similar to some things that we said, but like how do you deal with friends who regularly tell you about their non-vegan like dinner? I actually shared on my like story yesterday. Vegan prob like that page that just is like vegan problem number like gazillion. And it was just like when your like non-vegan friends talk to you about meat and I'm like, oh, that's the worst. What do you think, Elle?
I'm at a point in my life where my friends know my boundaries, and if they cross my boundaries, they're not my friends anymore. So my friends, like, I don't like most of my friends are vegan, I think, like, but friends who know me who aren't vegan know not to like talk about that, or they're just going to get like a crap response from me. So I'd say like just talk to them and be like, look, I don't feel good and I don't feel like you're being a very good friend to me when you talk about these things that you know upset me. Or if they didn't know it upset you, then you just make that clear. But then now they know it upsets you. If they want to go ahead, go forward with you, and they want to do things that upset you, I don't really know how that's a friend. So yeah, just say if you're my friend, then you won't do this thing that like upsets me, because that's not what friends do.
Yeah, you might be sort of obliged to, if you haven't, might be sort of obliged to say to them like, it upsets me when you do that, by the way.
Tell them
yeah, just tell them that.
Don't just
That's
assume
really
they'll know, even though it seems quite obvious to, you know, not be talking about bacon to a vegan. It's not going to be. So just don't assume, just tell them. And then if they break that, then they're not really a friend, are they?
Yeah, exactly. What if we knew the answer to this question, Elle?
Oh my goodness, then we would be on a good one, huh? We would I would just spend all my time doing it.
Yeah. For the purpose of like people watching it back, because I'm sure the questions don't show up on the like export or whatever, but how to convince someone to not eat animals, like we all wish that we just knew the like objective answer to that. Do you want to say something else?
Yeah, I don't think there is an objective answer, because like there are like behavioral like aspects to humans that are typical, and you can kind of try and follow that. But I don't think there is something that you could just even point to and go, yeah, this will convince every single person to change their mind on something and behave differently. I like, as amazing as that would be. But you know, just if you want some kind of like idea of how to convince people, then just look at there's really good books. There's one called How to Win Friends and Influence People. That's a really good book, and it's about how to you know, like change people's minds, how to get in people's good books and stuff like that, and that can be helpful. But then some people need a good shouting at, so I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, it's like you need to have a like long-winded conversation with someone and like trying to like gauge what they're like emotionally responding to more and all that stuff, and it's like super like most people that do outreach only get a chance to like just to have the conversation with someone once, so I'm sure they would love to like be able to answer that better. But I would, I guess, on that subject, then it might be wise for us to suggest like watching loads of outreach as well.
Yeah,
watching people that actually do that, like make it their job to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And for if anyone's arrived like more recently, like please put your questions in the bit with the little comment icon that has the question mark in it. So I've seen some questions come through in the chat. Chat goes by too quickly.
Yeah.
How do you deal with people's ignorance? I get verbally attacked on the daily at work. That sounds like you need to like bring that up with the like bosses and that, man, because that's like proper discrimination.
It's like harassment at that point.
Yeah, legit. Sorry about that, mate. Why does the word veganism have such baggage on it? It's one of the most provocative words. Do you think, Elle?
I think it's because when even if you're not meaning to, like you're saying I'm vegan, like for the animals. So what people aren't doing if they're not vegan is they're doing something harmful to the animals. It's being said without even being said. Like, I'm vegan because I don't want animals to be stabbed. It's then saying you're not vegan, you must want the animals to be stabbed, even though you're not saying that. So it feels like an attack. Like constantly we feel like we're being attacked by everything and everyone. And vegan is one of those words that causes the especially sensitive to lash out, because they feel like it is an attack, when all it is just a term explaining people who aren't paying for animal exploitation and killing, which reminds them that they are people who are paying for that, and I think it makes them feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's literally it. Can't even add to it. That's literally it. Yeah, it's like, I feel you, mate, who put the question in. It's like you can't even tell someone you're vegan. It just changes the whole dynamic.
Painful.
Yeah, I was in a tattoo shop today, got tattooed, right? So there was 4 or 5 people in the room, and I was wearing this Defender of Animals t-shirt as well, so it was not hidden at all. The guy who tattooed me is vegan, the shop owner is vegan, so there was 2 non-vegans in the room with us, but it was the guy had to, one of the guys, older guy, just pure had to explain to me why he wasn't vegan, and I just didn't even want it. I just didn't want to be part of it. I was just there to get tattooed, but it still happened. It's just one of those things, man. Is veganism on the decline? I don't think so. I think the contrary. I think the total opposite. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know any empirical data to say one way or the other. I'd be interested if anyone wants to say it is or isn't, then I'd want to see empirical data. I did see that apparently 1.1 million Brits went vegan last year, but again, I haven't seen the empirics on that or anything. So yeah, couldn't tell you.
I find it I like to, so it's even vegans can be guilty of a confirmation bias type thing sometimes. I want to believe it, but I also have a element of skepticism towards self-reporting. I am a vegan mainly for my diet and health, but also for the animals. And then it says, is that okay? I think it's okay. I'm not sure what you mean by is that okay? A lot of vegans will be annoyed at you for saying that you're predominantly vegan for your diet and health, but I just would say my response to that would be as long as you're ethically vegan, and so you're not letting non-vegan values spill into other aspects of your life, because then I would have to say objectively that I feel that's not okay. I think it's okay that you're vegan and you did it because you initially cared about your health. I wouldn't then think that it was okay for you to buy leather or go to the zoo or anything. That's my answer.
Yeah, I think the reason that you might get a bit of backlash for it is because it's kind of confusing. You might have health benefits to be a human rights activist, but you wouldn't say I'm a human rights activist for my health. What you say is I'm plant-based for my health and I'm vegan for the animals, because that's the only reason to actually be vegan. It's about ethics. So the reason you might get a bit like people might be huh? Is because it's kind of I can't think of the it's a category error. It doesn't make sense to say that. But it's good that you are vegan for the animals, but I'd say that you're plant-based for your health. That's the only way to make sense of that comment, really, when people say that, for me.
Yes, the really, really, really important distinction, because it's that's not what veganism means. Veganism doesn't mean be as healthy as you can. All I was trying to say was that like I just wanted to say, like, as long as you're vegan consistently.
As long as you're vegan,
Yeah.
then that's best.
Yeah. If you're vegan, then that's awesome. Yeah, that's all I really meant. That was an awesome response to that. And in today's time, people eating and cutting animals like carrots and radishes, I like started reading that before I realised that it didn't make too much sense. But no offence, mate. Don't feel comfortable with that one. This is a long one. I need to keep it open on the thing. Should UK-based vegans mobilise for the next general election, advocating for the party that's best for non-humans? If so, should we? Wait, don't get what you mean. So, like, the part that says "if so, should we"? Like, the party doesn't currently exist, right? I mean, there's like the Green Party that's definitely not a vegan party.
Party that's best for animals, I don't think.
Oh,
like,
right.
What?
Should UK-based vegans mobilise for the next general election? So, like, should vegans start a party? Is that like what you're actually asking? Hell yeah. Based. I'll vote.
I don't know nothing about politics and like anything like that to know what is actually most helpful. Like, I have no idea. Like, politics confuses me.
Yeah.
So I can tell you.
Yeah, same. If that was what you meant, mate, like, it's quite clear that we're both not into politics.
Yeah.
But if that was what you meant, that'd be so cool, mate. Start a vegan party.
Politics hurts my brain.
Yeah, yeah. I hate when people say if I don't eat it, other people. Well, all right, cool. I hate it when people say if I don't eat it, and I'm assuming by it they mean animal products, other people are still going to eat it anyway. I'm sure that's what that question means. Yeah, what do you think about that remark, Elle?
If I don't murder this person, then someone else might murder them. If I don't steal from this person, someone else might steal from them. See, I don't go around saying that. So that's immediately, if I'm doing outreach and someone says that, I say that exact thing. Like, someone could murder somebody else if you don't do it. Does that mean you are justified in doing it? No, it doesn't mean that at all. So why are people saying that? And it just completely like takes out of account supply and demand. If you are not paying for something, you are one less person paying for something. So it will have an effect on the outcome. Like, people forget they are a human affecting things in the world. They make a tangible difference.
Yeah, and I'd like to add that, like, so it's basically saying, like, other people are still going to do it anyway. The good thing about veganism is it's a state of inaction, right? It's just not doing something, and just because other people do something bad doesn't mean that, like, you should keep doing bad things. It's just a case of you refraining from doing a bad thing. Like, to take it further, in order to make a difference. So yeah, you're right. Like, you not eating meat or other animal products or buying leather isn't going to stop other people from doing all those things. The only thing that will is speaking up for the animals.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it's like, it's one of those things, man. I don't think don't think it makes any sense as a remark. It's just like, other people doing bad stuff doesn't justify you doing bad stuff. I think the most important part of the merit of veganism are the animals, of course. Yeah.
Vegan for the animals.
Yeah. Which vegan group do you volunteer? Can we join? I mean, me and Elle both work for Vegan FTA. If that's like what you're asking, we do have a like volunteer program which you can check out at veganfta.com. Like, if that's what you meant. Can I drink milk and eat eggs if I'm vegan? We covered this earlier on. And that is,
if they're vegan,
and that is
if they are
straight
free
no.
from animal products, animal ingredients, like vegan milk, like oat milk, if it's vegan eggs, then yeah. but not animal derived ingredients.
Yeah, and we like covered the plants feel pain thing earlier on as well. Mine is easy. What does your t-shirt say? Okay. Oh, mother sucker. Not your mum. Not your mum. Not your milk. I don't know if you can see all of it. Defender of Animals. Clothing brand that me and my best mate Daryl run. Yeah, I designed the t-shirt myself actually. Hope you like it.
We've been going for an hour. Do you want to? How long do you want to? Like, should we say to people to put in their final questions? If so.
Yeah. That's legit. Yeah. Damn. This one's too loaded for me. I'm allergic to soy and nuts. Plus, I'm type 1 diabetic, and you need a meal to be under 40 carbs. Really sorry, not the person to answer it.
What you should be doing is talk to a dietitian who can help you with a meal plan, especially if you have like health conditions. You want to talk to somebody in dietetics and get them to help you with a meal plan, rather than random people on the internet like who don't specialize in health, because this is your health on the line. It can be done as far as I'm aware. Like if people have health conditions and they just alter their diet to suit whatever like ethical lifestyle they're engaging in. So it can be done, I'm pretty sure. You just need to speak to somebody who has an understanding.
Yeah. So since we've been going for an hour, this could be a good one to end on. What do you think?
Yeah.
What do you think of the baby steps approach? I thought it was kind of loaded one to end on. What do you think about that?
I mean, I didn't do the baby steps approach. I just like stopped there and then. And I think that like as long as you carry on paying for things, like animals are being exploited and killed on your behalf, so that's the problem with it. But what you want to think about is across the board, a lifetime, what is going to like actually keep somebody like vegan. Like if someone does the whole stop method and they find it too much and then they just keep starting again, are they actually going to end up doing more harm and paying for more exploitation and killing that way? So I'd say whatever is actually going to keep somebody being vegan is probably going to be on a utility basis the best approach.
Yeah, that's an awesome response, man. I'd say like if you're already at the stage where you understand ethically why you should be vegan, then yeah, of course. Like I wouldn't encourage the baby steps approach. No. I would encourage you to right away, like to try to take care of the things that you don't understand, so that you can get to being vegan as soon as possible. The difference is like, so for me, like how I like the journey that led me towards veganism, you could argue was like a baby steps approach, because I was like interested in, I already knew that like from a diet perspective that reducing meat was like good for the environment or something, and I was doing these things for years before I went vegan. And just through being someone that like cares about stuff in general. And yeah, that like led me towards veganism eventually. But the moment that I ethically understood why I should be vegan, I went vegan straight away. The reason why I didn't before was because I didn't have the ethical understanding. When you do, like, no baby steps.
No baby steps. No balance.
That was awesome, Elle. Thanks so much for jumping on doing another live. Is there anything you want to say before we shut off?
say thank you to all the lovely comments that have been coming through. People have been saying lovely things, and you know, I hope that you enjoy these live streams, because we're going to be doing much more of them. And it's worth saying as well that we are going to be doing live streams on multiple platforms. So we're going to be doing them on TikTok, we're going to be doing them on Facebook and YouTube, and they're going to take different forms. So if you enjoy these, you want to be part of the community, you want to be salad, then make sure you are following Vegan FTA on multiple platforms so that you don't miss anything, and you can have your questions answered, be part of a community, be all the more enjoyable, I think, if you just get involved. So yeah, thank you very much to everyone.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it was awesome. Have a good one. I will speak soon, right?
Yeah, of course. See you in the next one.
Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.